There's a crown, also known as the relic, that is buried deep beneath the ground of a primitive earth. One day a man hears it calling to him. He journeys out and eventually finds and digs up this relic. He doesn't know it at the time, but this action will ultimately be the beginning of the end of everything he knows and loves. The relic, using this man as its vessel, sets forth the destruction of all organic life on the planet. With the death of all life also comes the construction of a golden machine empire, where the relic and his new vessel may sit atop their spire, looking out and reveling in their creation, an apocalyptic machine world. As the empire continues to grow, the man is consumed by the crown. They rule over the planet for centuries.
Like that, but I've always described it as the Jumanji moment, you know, like you get the calling to the relic, the thing buried, and that's to me what all of like the guitar swells and like the cymbal swells at the beginning is kind of just like there's a man out journeying or, you know, exploring this primitive land, you know, gathering or something like that, and he just hears this thing calling to him, and as he gets closer it gets louder and louder until eventually he digs it up, and now he's looking at this crown that, you know, is much more advanced. Like, you know, it definitely doesn't look like it's from the land that he's used to. So
how the image on the art for the first album of the man holding the relic, like right as he pulled it out of the ground, was like the moment that Kindred starts.
Yeah, that's
so
like that's like the cymbal catch of just
right.
Like when you hear that bass kind of coming, that to me is like the anticipation, like almost just like
it's when it's holding it.
Yeah, it's
just like what is this?
Yeah. Yeah, I think Kindred was probably the first song that we wrote as a band too. Lyrically, it kind of is just a description of the relic and like, I guess its initial effect on the world.
There's parts, especially near the beginning, where it's the relic speaking. You know, I mean, not literally, I don't think, but there's parts, you know, like "Come to me to seek your fate" and stuff like that, where it's like that's kind of the idea that the relic is pulling this man to him.
I think when we first started, we really wanted to create a world with its own lore and just something along those lines for people to dig into and kind of lose themselves in if they wanted to. So I feel like Kindred, being the first song that we wrote as a band, kind of was just us trying to create the world, I guess, that this story exists in. In my mind, it's like the relic speaking to the man, and it's almost like this romantic relationship that the relic sees their relationship as, to where it's just like I've chosen you like as my vessel, and I'm gonna like we're gonna destroy everything, but I'm also gonna create this world for you and I, and we're gonna enjoy this together. And from the relic's perspective, he's so unaware of how this affects the man, because the man is like so horrified he found this relic and now it's telling him, I'm going to destroy all organic life on the earth, I'm going to kill everybody except for me and you, and we're going to have this machine empire just for us, and it's going to be amazing. And he's just like, what the fuck?
Organic life and stuff is starting to like shrivel away and kind of decay, because like, I mean, there's even, you know, one of the lines like the greenest earth reduced to gray. You know, it's kind of like the colors dissipating and things are starting to really devolve.
Yeah, I mean, that same line has the name of the song, Roots and Agony. I think the whole thing that we were trying to convey with that song is like the earth is dying.
Yeah.
It's a path of ruthless efficiency is like the world that he's trying to create, and the man is along for the ride and sort of unknowingly is accelerating his agenda.
story, it represents just the beginning of the machine empire. It's like its own beast, you know what I mean? It's almost, in that song, it's kind of viewing the entity overall as just like this wild predatory beast that's just feeding on the earth, basically.
I always kind of imagined that Meridian Beast could also mean like it'd be like a, you know, another name for the relic, because that's kind of like, it is an apex predator. You know, the relic is the thing that initiated the whole thing, and it's just, I think it's that realization that the primitive human might have, that he's not just dealing with some weird item, he's dealing with like a sentient thing. So I always kind of imagined it too, because in Meridian Beast, it's like, it's one of the first times where you have the relic and the primitive human like almost speaking with each other, whereas before it was just like the human just being like, what is going on, and then the relic like kind of talking a little bit and like really bending him to his will.
We also do a little bit of misdirection with the lyrics that I thought was really cool when we did it, because lyrically it's like, I'll build you a new world. It's like the relic speaking to the man, I'll build you a new world, raising spires from the ground, like all that stuff, ultimately ending with a new world for us to burn. Like, it like makes it sound like such a positive thing, and then ultimately ends with just like, we're just gonna burn it when it's done. Like, that's the whole point of doing this, is the relic is kind of emotionless to the repercussions, I guess, of like its actions. It's like this narcissistic, like psychopath, like spiritual entity that lives within this crown.
Right, and it's like, it doesn't even make sense to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah,
it's like,
what's so scary about it is,
well, and it's like Cthulhian in nature almost, because it's like you have that thing where it's like there's this awful presence, and you don't know what it is, what it's doing.
I think this is the last little bit of like human that we get from the man for a little while, because he has, during the big build-up, buried beneath all my past failures, to forget is the only way from here. It's almost like everything's so terrible and traumatic that the only way to, it's almost like self-preservation. I'm going to wipe my memory of everything and just give into this, because I can't combat it anymore. It's too painful, you know what I mean? And that's, I also like that part it has a very kind of like, with the lead guitar over it, has a very psychedelic feel, so it's almost just like falling into an acid trip, you know what I mean? And now your spirit is like astral projecting through space as your soul kind of transforms from what you used to be like organic human. Now it's like the machine taking over inside of you, this weird spiritual transformation, this transmutation that happens to him.
I always imagined transmutation as like, I don't know, the word ethereal really comes to mind, because it's just this spaceless, matterless void that you exist in for just, you know, however long it is, a few minutes, but it's kind of this like, it's losing empathy, and it's losing emotion, and any kind of feeling, and it's losing all the things that make someone human. It's taking the essence of being human and, you know, diminishing it down to just a few minutes.
Yeah, I think it's the death of all of his human emotions, and in that you're getting the most potent form of all of it at once. The first time we played, we didn't write Transmutation, we just played Transmutation.
That's right.
We played Meridian Beast, and then once we stopped Meridian Beast, Eric just started playing. So then I started playing along with him, doing like the little like simple like kick drum, like hi-hat thing that I was doing, and then Rafe came in with his thing, and then it built up and then dropped, and we played that for a couple minutes, and then when we stopped, we were like, remember whatever the fuck that was, 'cause that was fucking cool.
There is a part in Meridian Beast where I'm doing that little motif for like a second, and basically after Meridian Beast is over, I sort of take that piece and then we built that entire song out of that little thing that I was doing, the thing, sort of thing. And
when the song starts, it literally eyes, or what is it?
eyes open like gates.
Eyelids like
Yeah,
gates.
eyelids like
Yeah.
gates open our mind to the temple, and it's kind of like after having your spirit, fly through the ether for however long, when you wake up, you're now one with this relic, you're now this machine being.
This like half human, half machine thing that it just exists. Like at the beginning of Cold Dead World, that's what he's transitioning into. He's becoming something that's not human at all. He is the relic now.
It's a cold, dead world.
It ends with him climbing up onto this spire and sitting on a throne looking out over this gray, lifeless planet where organic life is being harvested. As I sit on my tower of
as I sit
exile.
on my tower of exile, the world has moved on, morals are my weakness, only the scum survive.
Yeah.
A homeless man in Panama City Beach said that to me as we were sitting outside. We got to the bar really early, and I was outside smoking a cigarette, and a homeless man just said that to me. And I was like, all right, dude. So I pulled out my
mental note.
I pulled out my phone, I wrote it down, and I was like, I'm going to use that somewhere. That's fucking sick. And when we wrote the album, I was just like, this would be a really cool thing to kind of end it on, because I think that kind of maybe helped us come up with the idea of the spire and everything. It's just this random quote that this guy said to me.
We want to make something that it's like watching a movie, or reading a book, where it's like, it's a full experience either way. Something that you can try and kind of follow the story, which is definitely harder to do with music than it is like with books and movies or any other kind of media, really. But it's still, it's nice to have, and I think it's cool that if someone really wanted to dig into it, they could kind of take it apart and piece by piece try to understand what the whole story is.